Hello there and good morning. I appreciate you reaching out to me. This is Kari. Ultimately, I just wanted to say that as people have noticed probably within my voting record the last several years, I don't vote for most of the Republicans or Democrats or a lot of these people or participate in the voting because I'm not very pleased with a lot of these factors. Now, I'm not 100% in love with the policies of Donald Trump or other people, but as long as people say and only show one side of the story and whatnot, it's only it's really discrediting everybody in politics and just really being tasteful and pretty sickening. For instance, the Democrats and liberals should be pushing for Glass-Steagall Act, which is very Franklin Roosevelt and Democratic, but I don't see that happening. So, and it's very interesting. Many of the stories that Dr. Ford has stated have actually came apart and aren't completely accurate, but we're going to keep the ones that are accurate and keep it going. So I see a lot of people playing politics right now. I'm not apologizing for the GOP. I don't care less. Quite frankly, I ran as a Republican this year versus an independent for Congress versus 2 years ago and whatnot, and put the pressure on what would be the Republican, Kathy McMorris Rogers of the 5th District, and openly made a deal with what would be all the contenders, Republican, and even what would be the Democrat as well. I stated to her, I said, hey, we don't need to focus on each other. We wait till after the primaries or whatever, and then we can go at each other's throats, basically, politically speaking. We're not pleased with the incumbent, and I focus my attention on her. So I see why the liberal left and the Democrats are reaching out to me. Many of my policies are very within the left, and honestly, and I believe I can work with people. But people also need to realize a man by the name of George Soros funds and runs MoveOn.org. So people need to know who they work with and who they work for, and need to be open and tell all sides of the story. Now let's talk about Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton next, shall we? Strategy. Many dear people, Democrats and the liberal left, wonder what the heck happened with 2016. Well, I tend to be I came from what would be believed always as myself as a Democrat over the years, but the left and the Democrats, I didn't lead the party. They left me. And I'm not the only person that feels this as a millennial or as an individual in politics or a human being in society, ultimately. So as I've been pressing for the Glass-Steagall Act, as I do want to fund Social Security and Medicaid and things more than even the damn Democrats do that are in office, such as Representative Rick Larson. So some of these people talk about doing this and that, but they really don't put their money where their mouth is. They play a lot of games. A lot of the Democrats are for war and keep the game going, and they play both sides of the aisle and whatnot too. So it's not about Republican or Democrat. Now, what happened in 2016 was that people didn't vote for Donald Trump. They voted against the policies of Barack Obama, as typified within Hillary Clinton. That is what they did. They didn't care about Trump. They went against Obama because they saw what that brought them. By their fruits you shall know them. Now, what did Obama bring to people? Just like I accurately stated 8 years, well, Jesus, now almost 9 years ago and whatnot, and I'm not a racist, obviously. I've dated black girls and whatnot, women over the years and whatnot, and so, that's not an issue there. I would have no problem marrying an African-American woman if I fell in love with her or whatnot, no problem at all. But anyway, but the liberal left, speaking of Obama, when I said what would happen underneath him, and I decided, no, I'm not going to go with the party, they would call people like me a racist, a bigot, all kinds of stuff. So I've seen some really distasteful things. The liberal left made up things about me and lies as well. Blaze the dog, Fox Q13, and created an international issue full of lies. Just ask Arlington Police Department and whatnot. And that ended up pounding out against them and helped me to run for Congress. They did this to try to get me out of the way because they knew I was going to give Representative Rick Larson a real run for his money, and he finds me a threat. So let's talk. So what happened here, and allow me to please take a quick drink. In 2016, a lot of the liberal left and Democrats and people all over are trying to figure out what happened. People voted against the policies of Obama, simply put. What did Obama bring? Well, when I go to Seattle, I see twice as many disenfranchised African Americans, Mexicans, people of color on the streets, and homeless in general than I did 10 years prior under George Bush. and I was trying to push for his impeachment. That's right. The Democrats loved me when I was against those wars, and they were alongside of me, and we were pressing, hell, I was going even further than the most Democrats. I said, let's impeach Bush and Cheney. These guys are scum. But when Obama came into play, that's when people said, no, Kari, we're going against you. And when the Democrats don't have real dirt on a guy like me or whoever, they make it up. They just make it up sometimes. And like I said, this isn't about left versus right. I'm very disgusted with many of the Republicans as well, not just Democrats right now in government. So what happened here, and allow me to please take a quick... I accurately stated under Obama that the price of food would double, that the nation would be in turmoil, pretty much in a civil war at each other's throats, and that is exactly the fruit that we had from Obama. But I don't see the liberal left holding him accountable or your own. So you guys stuck with Hillary Clinton. It's funny because most of the liberal left, including 2/3, 70% of Bellingham, 2/3 of Democrats in Everett, they said to what would be Representative Rick Larson, we don't want Hillary. They knew she was distrustful and whatnot. Even most women I talked to on the liberal left that don't exactly agree with some of my policies say, Kari, we don't trust her. We don't like Trump. We hate him, but we'll settle for her, some of them said. But yeah. But what happened was a lot of the college people and whatever, they said, okay, Jobs was being talked about by Trump. Hillary was talking shit the whole time. And Hillary plans on coming back. And if the liberal left don't plan on purging her and some of the other Democrats out of office, they're going to put Republicans in office for the next 20 years in Congress. Think about that. So what I'm telling you on the left side of the spectrum is what I'm telling people on the political so-called conservative right, because everybody knows I'm not a liberal, but I'm not a conservative either. I'm just a guy that seeks and cares about the truth. I'm a guy that was written a letter by President Trump, that's right, saying that I inspire him. Go on to Facebook and see that for yourself and whatnot, a copy of that and whatnot. I'm proud of that to receive a letter from the president because, I mean, like him or not, when you receive a letter from the White House, you're making an impact in politics, simply put, and whatnot. And I've even been invited by the Department of Homeland Security to attend a closed meeting at what would be the CIS Ombudsman Conference at what would be in Washington, D.C. in November. So people, even Rick Larson called me in at 29 to be advised at his office as a boy in his 20s. So I'm a profound political person, and I can just say if people don't be fair and hold their own accountable and be honest and fair on both sides, including their own, it's going to really discredit everybody. So God bless you, love you, and take care, and good luck with everything out there. Look into George Soros. And if I may elaborate a little bit more on the aspect of Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller, the president, well, I won't go into the policies I don't like of the president right now. As fun as that would be and enjoyable, and as much as people would love to have that on tape and to be able to hear and focus on the side that Kari doesn't like about Trump. But let's talk politics and let's talk how it is. Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller is a con job. This whole thing was based on a con job. Barack Obama is actually lawyered up, just like Hillary Clinton. There's a special what would be a grand jury already been concluded to indict these people, and there's even war crimes coming to the tribunals. That's right. You want to know what your president's going to do? He's going to drag these motherfuckers through what would be the same shit they put him through, except for it's going to be the truth and justice. And in the process, the FISA warrants and all this goes both ways. We're going to find out who authorized, including what would be a sitting president, Obama. Guess what he did? Ooh, it was bad. You want to talk something bad? A sitting president. Active. No, not just a candidate running for president, which was Trump that collaborated with. Oh, no. Let's go back a couple steps. It was Obama that worked with, that's right, as a sitting president, used his own government to subdue, and change an election, to steal an election for Hillary Clinton, collaborating with her. That's right. Just whatnot. Wow. And people want to talk about, we got to say Mueller. What you guys are doing is resisting. That's right. You guys are resisting. It's called anything that we can do to resist Trump, to slow him down. Never Trump, never Trump. That's what you guys do. And it helps your cause, and it helps make him look bad, and it helps him to be less effective. But you guys are playing the puppet for people. Some of you give a little bit of money, and some of you think you're something, working for George Soros. I won't even tell you who George Soros was. He was so out there. I'm afraid I'll discredit everything I've said if I told you who he is and where he came from and what he did as a boy in Germany. That's right. Look into it. And we want to talk about what would be Russians. Hillary Clinton, as active Secretary of State, sold uranium through a company called Uranium One. Uranium One. I told everybody, it's on Facebook, it's public, going back a good 2.5 years ago as well, with plenty of people, including doctors and liberal nurses throughout Linwood to Seattle, that I've spoke to personally and talked to about this as well. That's right. I interact with everybody and I put this out. So what the Democrats did was they knew they were going to get screwed, and this Russian collusion that they did was going to come out. So they had to put it on the other people. They're doing Russian collusion. So when, just like there's a lot of Democrats, Harvey Weinstein involved with rape or whatever, or this or that, so they got to make, this is a rape issue, so they got to switch it around and find Republicans and even make it up. This is sick. This is absolutely disgusting. But Obama is on his way to prison. He has a lawyer, and there's a lot of stuff that'll be happening. And this is going to be funny as all hell. Justice is about to be served. Amen. Jesus is real. And Robert Mueller, remember this whole thing's supposed to have been about Russian collusion. Remember that? Whatever happened to that? Then it became obstruction of justice. Then it became, okay, we can't get Trump, so how about the fucking suits that Paul Manafort didn't pay tax on in the 1980s while he worked for Reagan back then? Oh, he didn't pay some taxes to the IRS. Oh, that has to be Trump's fault too. And then when you guys came up with that salacious shit on Donald Trump in overseas, what they call the dossier, what did they say? They said that President Trump, as a candidate, went to Russia, did treason, working with the Russians, cheated on his wife with a fucking hooker in a Russian Moscow hotel, and had the baby, let the fucking lady do a golden shower and piss all over him. Fucking A. You guys come out with shit just to bring people down and make them look like freaks of nature. It's disgusting what the Democrats have become, the liberal left. And I'm holding their damn Republicans accountable as too. You work for George Soros. You're a pawn of Satan himself, you fucking idiot.
That was the message right there that I gave and spoke to with what would be allegedly a member of what would be George Soros's MoveOn.org that contacted me this morning at approximately 10:20 a.m. Now, just like many of liberals and whatnot on the liberal left, Democrats, just like many conservative Republicans or many libertarians, that's right, many of you too, find me a little too much. I'm a big shark. To some of you and whatnot, because I'm plowing through like a wrecking ball and making some of you people look like fools. Well, you attach to the wrong policies, the wrong people, a bunch of flimsy so-called leaders that couldn't beat their way out of a wet paper bag. Well, you get to discredit yourselves too. I am going to stick with President Trump as long as he's going to stick with and be loyal to the citizens of the United States of America and the Constitution. He's trying to do his job, and I've got the guts to stick with Trump as long as he has the heart to stick with us. I do believe in the Lord. I'm going to stick with the president. I'm going to stick with you, the people. Whoever want to get with us and work with us can work with us. Whoever finds us too much, well, good luck with that. So all I can say is, in the words of my dear old grandma, happy landing. That's right. That's from Lola. That's right. God bless you, Grandma, and God bless each and every one of you. Happy landing.